I got the poison. I got the remedy. I got the protective medical remedy. I got the poison. I got the remedy. I got the protective medical remedy. I got the poison. I got the remedy. I got the protective medical remedy. I got the poison. I got the remedy. I got the poison. I got the poison. I got the poison.
Firstly, one of the most interesting stories that happened recently was in Los Angeles with a Mr. Joe Moshe, M-O-S-H-E, which people can Google and find themselves. On Thursday, he was surrounded by a SWAT team after he had called in last week to Dr. Truott's show on Republic Broadcasting and called in asking if there was a state's attorney or someone he could give evidence to because he was apparently a biological scientist with a dual citizenship in Israel. And he had evidence that the Baxter had a Ukraine lab actually not making a vaccine but making a bioweapon that was going to cause a plague when the vaccine was released. Now, of course, True didn't believe him at first, but what happened is immediately after, the next day, a SWAT team, literally an army, surrounded his Volkswagen Beetle in West Los Angeles. They hit his car 4 times with pepper cannons, and then they sent in a robot after he just sat in the car, and apparently they were surprised that he didn't kind of cough and choke and come out. They sent in a robot to break a back window, and they tasered him and hauled him out through the window.
Stories. There are fears that the H1N1 virus has now mutated and resembles the Spanish flu virus that killed more than 50 million people at the beginning of the 20th century. Ukrainian doctors say the lungs of the victims are as black as charcoal. This prompts fresh concern that the swine flu virus has taken a deadly new form. Our correspondent Igor Ogorodnev went to the epicenter of the outbreak in western Ukraine.
Make no mistake about it, Ukraine is in the throes of a swine flu crisis. I'm here in Lviv. Lviv has been one of the hotspots where the virus has been at its worst. Some of the parts of the hospitals here, which are intended for other illnesses, have been refurbished and swine flu patients have been put in them. It's become fashionable to trivialize swine flu and say it's just like normal flu. But doctors here say it isn't. It's more aggressive and it's more likely to lead to complications, particularly pneumonia. There's been worldwide speculation as to why Ukraine has been specifically so hard hit by it. In fact, there have been some theories published in the British papers suggesting that the virus had mutated in Ukraine and had become something more potent than it had been elsewhere in the world.
We were told sometime in the near past that the Ukrainian outbreak, the Ukrainian pandemic, was brought to Ukraine with chemtrails, and we've heard that it has been spread in Poland, but that was the last that we have heard about it. The updates that you are reading from the mainstream media are just garbage. Garbage, you know, unless you read them very, very carefully to find the little tiny bits of wisdom or bits of truth that may have accidentally slipped through. I mean, don't even bother reading them anymore unless you know how to read between the lines and you can translate the lies that they are telling.
minutes past the hour right now. Investigators are working to find a crime scene this morning, 5 days after a former Pentagon official's body was discovered in a Delaware landfill. His name is John Wheeler. His car was found yesterday, and now investigators are hoping that some new information will help them move the case forward.
2 days before his body was discovered, a parking attendant says she had an odd encounter with the 66-year-old Wheeler. Deborah Farrick has details on that and what's ahead for investigators. And this encounter is just so bizarre, but it does shed some light on what happened.
Well, it really...
This mysterious brownish yellow substance that's dripping down the siding of several homes in Amherst has sparked some controversy. Was it a bird or was it a plane?
It's just kind of a shock. You're not sure what it is, just some yellowy, goopy stuff, but, you know, it's pretty gross right from the outset.
Whatever it is, it showed up on the roofs and siding of several homes on Washington Highway and Berryman Drive last Tuesday, and it carries an unpleasant odor. Many homeowners that have been affected suspect that an airplane may have emptied its bathroom contents mid-flight, splattering the neighborhood.
We have children in the neighborhood. This neighborhood is very high in traffic with kids. We're dragging in and out of houses. If it is an FAA issue or an overhead dropping, then we want to clean up. That's it. It's not anything more than that. We just want to make sure the neighborhoods and the houses are safe for the kids.
The Federal Aviation Administration sent inspectors to check out the mess last week. However, their investigation determined that flocks of birds are responsible. The FAA also replayed their radar records and say that there were no planes in the area at the time.
Top U.S. official murdered after Arkansas weapons test causes mass death. A shocking report prepared for Prime Minister Putin by the Foreign Military Intelligence Directorate (GRU) states that one of the United States' top experts in biological and chemical weapons was brutally murdered after he threatened to expose a U.S. military test of poison gas that killed hundreds of thousands.
I'm used to hearing sonic booms. This was much louder than a sonic boom. That was an actual explosion that I heard.
All right, and from where you're at, can you just give us kind of a perspective as to what the
some kind of ammunition come off the jet and hit a business about 10 miles from here.
Do you know what that business is by chance?
Yeah, it's the Chateau restaurant. They actually, it sounds like a fuel tank got hit out there or something. And like something that come off the jet.
And do we know exactly what kind of damage had happened to the Chateau restaurant?
I'm understanding the fuel tank got hit there. That's all I'm getting right now. And they actually are doing a door-to-door evacuation in the area. They're telling us that there was chemical and nuclear warheads on the jet.
Oh, okay. And then
the toxic punch unleashed by this predator has earned it the name Deathstalker. Fever, convulsions, and increased blood pressure can rack victims in as few as 5 minutes.
the vast majority of the milk and dairy products that we consume in Britain, well, in the UK, are derived from pasteurised milk, and the heat treatment that pasteurisation is kills the bacteria, in fact kills all bacteria, and renders it entirely safe to drink.
So how do you feel about these aliens from outer space abducting your cows?
You feel like you're violated. That's the way I feel.
I'm bewildered. I'm at a loss of what to think, you know. You educate yourself to know what's going on, and when something like this, I mean, alien abductions, you're thinking, what is going on? How come?
Hi everybody, this is not good. An Oregon cat has been diagnosed with the bubonic plague. This is an article from kgw.com. Portland. A cat in Pineville has been diagnosed with bubonic plague, the fourth case reported in Oregon among people and animals since January of last year.
Now defunct Beef O'Grady's restaurant off Gillenvale Road, when the fox grabbed hold of her pants leg, Bracken said. She screamed and tried to shake it off. Enraged, the fox jumped and sank its teeth into her forearm. There were some very young men playing football near the trail who ran to her rescue, Bracken said. They'd beat the fox with helmets, threw footballs at it and hit it with sticks until it ran away. The team's coach called 911 and an ambulance was on its way. The fox looked for more victims. It found a child first and then another woman, eventually making an escape into the woods. The men who rescued the first woman must be examined because they were exposed to the fox's saliva, a health official said. Any cuts or openings in the skin could easily let in the rabies. The fox probably has a version of rabies, aptly named Furious Rabies, said Julie Robbins of the Department of Natural Resources. Animals that have that type of rabies, called dumb rabies, usually just go off to die, she added. Usually a rabid animal will die within 5 days of becoming symptomatic. Tanner said it could live as long as 10 days. According to the officials, people should take precautions not to attract wild animals to their yards. Trash can lids must be secure. If there are pets in the home, owners should not leave them outdoors. Any food left outside will attract animals such as foxes and raccoons. They should make sure their rabies vaccinations are up to date, Tanner said. If a dog gets bitten...